welcome to Hello Artist, an interview series where we get to know one visual artist but keep it brief enough to leave you wanting more. Kind of like waking up with such a good hair day that it doesn't matter if you put on pants. I'm your host, Marissa Thaler, and today's artist, I have been assured, is in fact wearing pants. Please say hello to Dan Hogan. Hello, artist.
Well, Marissa, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for joining me today.
So good to be here.
So here's how it's going to work. I will ask you 4 questions, and then we'll do a speed round. All right?
Okay.
So go ahead and tell me a little bit about who you are as a visual artist and what kind of work you do.
I'm a cartoonist. I mainly work in watercolor and ink. I also do digital art. So I've been doing a long-form, all-ages fantasy comic called Foxes and Boxes for the past few years. Self-published the first Foxes and Boxes book last summer. Where I'm at now is I'm currently working on finishing enough pages to have a book too.
Yeah, that kind of brings me right into the next question, was like, what are you currently working on? Other than Foxes and Boxes, is there something else that you're plugging away at?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the 100-day project. So every day, for 100 days in a row, I do a new piece of original art. I start with a random watercolor shape, and then I make it into a cartoon using ink. I've been good about it this year where I don't forget to take a before picture. I know people like seeing what I start with, and I think it helps explain the piece better.
So what kind of thing often inspires your work?
I'm inspired by whimsy and a big fan of cartoons and comics and that sort of thing. So I get a lot of inspiration from that. I get a lot of inspiration from my 5 ridiculous cats, including the new kittens we adopted back in September, who are little orange gremlins. My wife, Steph Joy Hogan, is an influence as well because she's also an artist, so we kind of help each other with projects and that sort of thing.
So what would you say has been your favorite or the most important part of your art career so far?
Being an emerging artist at the East Lansing Art Festival in 2018, it literally changed my art career and path like overnight because I sold way more than I ever had, and that continues to be the trend.
So we are to the speed round portion of the interview. Are you ready?
Sure.
Question number 1, what's your favorite color?
Probably green these days.
Question number 2, your favorite artist?
So like my favorite comic artist is probably Bill Watterson's up there of Calvin and Hobbes.
Yes.
And then favorite non-comic book artist, I've been really getting into the work of Mary Blair lately. So if you've been to Disney World, if you've been on It's a Small World, that's Mary Blair. Yeah, so here's a book I just got. She did a lot of concept art for Disney, and I'm actually taking an online art class right now that's inspired by her work.
Question number 3, what's your favorite part of your creative routine?
Experimenting, trying new stuff. I bought some fancy glittery ink from Odd Nod Art Supply here in Lansing. This past few months, I've also been trying some other materials like Pashka paint pens, those acrylic paint pens, because I only ever really work in watercolor and inks.
I think that's one thing that sticks out to me about your work. I feel like a lot of people get comfortable and that's what they use, but I feel like yours is kind of ever-changing and evolving.
Along those lines, this is part of the reason I took that Mary Blair class, because this is one of the assignments I had to do. I used watercolor, gouache, acrylic pens, some watercolor pencils. The only rules for the assignment were it was just make an underwater scene, have layers. So that's fun. That's also the reason I decided to invest in the iPad Pro, because I kept hearing good things about Procreate, and I wanted to see what I could do digitally with that and experiment as well.
And the last question is a question just for me, and I thought this is appropriate because you and I both share a love of something. So my question to you, Dan Hogan, is which piggy is the cutest piggy? We have piggy number 1,
Okay.
dressed as a unicorn. Piggy number 2, dressed as a cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
We have piggy number 3, who's in a pair of pajamas.
Well, I can relate to number 3, so I'll go with number 3.
This is like the quarantine piggy. This is our mascot.
Mm-hmm.
So as we wrap up, is there anything else that you wanted to plug right now? Or if you could tell us where we can find you on Instagram or other social media?
So the main thing I want to plug right now is For the month of June, buy any of my art, I'm donating 10% and matching at 10% and donating it to the Firecracker Foundation, which helps people, especially children, deal with sexual trauma. You can go to blueowlcoffeeart.com to see what I have for sale at the Blue Owl Coffee, and Instagram at Clattertron. And if you just go to my website, danieljhogan.com, I have links to all my social media there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with me and doing this interview. I really appreciate it. I was looking forward to it.
Yes, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us today. You can find Dan's information in the description below the video. And be sure to join us next time where we get to meet one more artist. Thank you.